of. Functions of roots. Anchorage. The mechanical function that root performs is the fixation of plant to the soil. The main root goes deep into the soil and the lateral roots spread out in different directions. So, the root system as a whole family anchors the plant. Absorption. The most important physiological function is the absorption of water and necessary inorganic salts from the soil. This is done with the help of root hairs, which develop in a cluster at a little distance behind the root cap. These root hairs adhere to the soil particles and absorb water and soluble salts from them. Conduction. After the water and mineral salts are being absorbed by the root hairs, they are conducted through the roots to the stem and leaves. Storage. There is certain amount of food stored in the root, particularly in its mature region. The preserved food is utilized during the process of growth of roots. Structure of a root hair. The cell wall of a root hair has two layers, the outer layer of pectic compounds and the inner of cellulose. Inside the cell wall, a thin layer of cytoplasm of root hair is continuous in the cytoplasm of the epiblema cell, of which the root hair is a part. The cytoplasm encloses a central vacuole which contains cell sap. The absorption of water by the root hairs takes place because the diffusion pressure deficit of root hairs is greater than the diffusion pressure deficit of the soil water. Diffusion. Diffusion in plants. Diffusion process is most commonly observed in plants. Substances enter the plant either through the root hairs or through the stomata. Mineral salts and water diffuse into the plant body through the root hairs, while gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide is necessary for respiration and photosynthesis respectively, diffuse into the plant body through stomata. The process of diffusion is essential for different vital processes like respiration, photosynthesis, transpiration, nutrition, water absorption, etc. Osmosis. Osmosis is a specialized type of diffusion which involves the movement of water through a semi-permeable membrane, such as cell membrane, egg membrane, any animal bladder, or parchment paper. When two solutions of different concentrations, whose solvents are the same but solutes may be similar or different, are separated by means of a semi-permeable membrane, the molecules of water or the solvent diffuse from one solution to another along a direction from the solution of lower concentration to the solution of higher concentration. Exosmosis and Endosmosis. If a plant cell, which is in turgid state, is kept in a solution of higher than cell sap concentration, that is, a hypertonic solution, water molecules diffuse out of the cell. The outward movement of water molecules from the cell sap into the outer solution is called exosmosis. As a result of exosmosis, the plasma lemma leaves the cell wall and the whole cytoplasm contracts in the center. This is called plasmolysis. If a plasmolysed flaccid cell is kept in water or solution of lower than cell sap concentration, that is, hypertonic solution, water molecules diffuse into the cell. This process is called endosmosis. As a result of endosmosis, deplasmolysis occurs in a plasmolysed cell. Mineral absorption, active and passive absorption. Osmotic absorption. Some botanists believed that the phenomenon of water absorption is governed by the process of osmosis. The concentration of dissolved substances in the sap of the root hair is normally higher than the solution of the soil. The dissolved substances in the root hair contain large amounts of sugars and organic acids. Thus, the water will pass from the soil into the root hair by endosmosis. From root hairs to the xylem via cortical cells, water is believed to move by osmosis. Active non-osmotic absorption. The entry of water from cortex into xylem in small herbaceous plants is due to movement of water against a concentration gradient. This active intake, pumping in, of water requires an expenditure of energy produced by the metabolic respiratory activity of the living cells. Active absorption of water is negligible in most land plants. Passive absorption. The process of absorption in this case is due to factors originating in upper portion of the plant, and the cells of the root play only a passive role. Thus, large quantities of water are absorbed at relatively rapid rate. When water is available in sufficient quantity in soil for roots, the rate of absorption of water is almost parallel to the rate of transpiration. Stem. Stem is usually the ascending part of plant axis, which develops from the plumule part of the embryo and ultimately bears such parts as nodes, internodes, buds, leaves, flowers, and fruits. Features of stem. It is the ascending portion of the plant axis, which is normally positively phototropic in nature. It is negatively geotropic. It bears branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits. It has distinct nodes and internodes. It bears buds, either axillary or in apical positions. Leaves and branches arise from the nodes of the stem. The stem may bear multicellular hairs on outer surfaces. Functions of the stem. Bearing of branches and leaves. The main stem and the branches bear numerous leaves on all sides. The leaves are so arranged that they get maximum sunlight and air. Bearing of flowers and fruits. The stem bears flowers and fruits. Conduction. The stem conducts water and mineral salts upwards, downwards, and sideways in plants. It transports the food synthesized in leaves to different parts of the plant. The conducting tissues are xylem and phloem. Xylem conducts water and minerals to all parts. Phloem conducts prepared food from leaves to all parts. Leaf. The green, flattened and expanded structure of the plant, seen as a lateral appendage on the stem, is usually termed as the leaf. It is an important part of the plant. It is also known as the kitchen house of the plant, as it manufactures food substances with the help of chlorophyll present in it. Functions of leaves. The main functions of leaves are food synthesis or photosynthesis, respiration or gaseous exchange, food synthesis or photosynthesis. Carbohydrate food is synthesized in the leaf. To make food, green leaves need sunlight, air, and water. The process of making food in plants in the presence of sunlight is called photosynthesis. Respiration or gaseous exchange. Plant takes carbon dioxide in and expels oxygen during photosynthesis. It takes oxygen in and expels carbon dioxide out during respiration. These gaseous exchanges takes place mainly through leaves. Measurement of growth. The growth in a plant is measured in terms of increase in its length, increase in weight, and increase in plume or area, etc. Auxins. Auxins are one of the most important groups of plant hormones because of their manifold roles in plant. They were the first hormones to be discovered in oat plant. They influence growth to a great extent. Iodole acidic acid, IAA, is an important auxin. Applications of auxins. Cell elongation. The most characteristic action of auxin is to promote cell elongation. Cell division. Auxin has been found to be responsible for causing and promoting cell division in some meristematic tissues. Example, cambium. Movements. Movements in plants may or may not be very pronounced. Movements are conspicuous in lower plants like Chlamydomonas, Volvox, etc., as they can freely swim in water. But as the higher plants are fixed in the soil by their roots, movements have limited significance. Thus, the unfolding of leaves and opening of floral buds constitute growth movements. Movements in plants are brought by definite internal and external stimuli. The movements which are due to internal stimulus are known as spontaneous or autonomic movements, and they are not influenced by external stimuli. Movements which occur in response to external stimuli are known as paratonic or induced movements. They are mainly of three types, namely tactic movements, tropic movements, and nastic movements.